So thank you for coming. My name is Mark Strama, and I'm a board member of the United Way. And my fellow board members are trying to rattle me. And it worked. And I am really just here to welcome you to the Google Fiber space and to introduce the chair of our board, Kathleen Farlow. And Kathleen, if you'll just come up.
Hi, I'm Kathleen from Deloitte. You know, the United Way board is one of the funnest boards, most fun board that I have ever been on. And when Mark made that comment about being rattled by the crowd, it's because we're good friends. We enjoy the philanthropy and the objectives, making an impact on the community. So it's very nice to see all of you here. This is exciting. We've made some changes and we're so pleased to share those with you. So again, but let's start right with our guest speaker, and my job is to introduce him. So I will do my best, Mayor. So I have the honor of introducing him. He's been in office, as you all know, since January 2015. Mayor Adler has made his mission to address Austin's affordability and our mobility crisis. And you know, affordability is very, very important to United Way. Recognized by many of his innovative leadership, in 2016, he was selected to the advisory board of the United States Conference of Mayors, was named Politico magazine's Rookie of the Year by fellow mayors. That's quite an honor. Fellow mayors thought that our mayor was great. And among the country's top 25 disruptive leaders by Living City. I mean, disruptive leaders. Some of you are clapping. Doesn't that fit our city? I mean, that is just too cool. Too cool. I know you're thinking, oh, that woman from Deloitte, what does she think about disruption? But man, this is the way to the future. Thank you, Mayor. Recognized by former U.S. Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox for the Smart Trips Austin program in the Runberg neighborhood. Do we have anybody from that neighborhood? Mayor, you didn't get them here. They just did not make it. Austin was named a winner of the Mayor's Challenge for Safer People and Safer Streets. Again, something that is deep in the heart of United Way. Safer people and safer streets. Born in Washington, D.C., and we will forgive him for that, because after all, to parents who worked hard so that he and his siblings could be the first of his family to go to college. First of his family to go to college. That's something else that's very important to United Way as we help the working poor go to college and get prepared. So he goes to UT Law School, Hook'em Horns. Mayor Adler devoted much of his practice to civil rights law, defending workers and women facing discrimination, sexual harassment, and unequal pay. Later, as Chief of Staff and General Counsel for State Senator Elliott Shapley, Adler fought for increased public school funding, higher teacher salaries, and greater environmental protections. For over 20 years, he's worked with and chaired many of Austin's key civic and nonprofit boards, including the Anti-Defamation League, the Texas Tribune, Gen Austin, and Breakthrough. Somehow we missed him at United Way. We'll have to catch him another time. It's safe to say that Mayor Adler is committed to the people of this great city, our great city, and United Way for Greater Austin is so very proud to call him a friend. So please help me welcome Mayor Steve Adler.
Well, thanks for the invitation to be with you all here today. This United Way is an incredible organization, and that was an awfully kind introduction. You know, this kind of thing happens in a community, given the position I have at Point. A lot of it reflects back at me, but it's really the hard work of so many people. The people in the government side and And we have my colleague here, Jimmy Flanagan, on the council, who I love working with and has come onto the council as really one of the hardest workers we have. And then Mark Williams in here with ACC trustee. You know, it takes people. You know, it takes people in government, but it takes people out in the community too. And I've said this before, and if you heard me say it, before I did this mayor's gig, I was standing in rooms like this where you are with nonprofits and with volunteer boards in the city. And I thought the work we did was really important, but I thought of it as necessary work to fill in the gaps that government couldn't attend to. And I realized that I had it really backwards, that so much of what happens in our community is done by our community. Thousands of people in the community doing incredible things in so many different places, and that in truth the government at best fills in the gaps between what the community doesn't do. And United Way, because of its breadth, because of the people that are involved, truly is a long-standing pillar in that regard in this community. And has been in Austin for over 90 years. I was actually familiar with United Way when I came to Austin, because for me, like so many other people, United Way is the way that we get introduced to philanthropy when we are young. I remember my first job didn't last very long. I finished law school, but was with Procter & Gamble, and I didn't know about philanthropy, and I didn't know about volunteering. But I was in a community where United Way was important and special. And after my first few months at Procter & Gamble, when my supervisors sat me down to tell me what was my encouraged United Way contribution, I couldn't believe them with the number that they were suggesting. Until I got a real feel for the work that was being done, and it's happening in our community here. We owe a lot to United Way in our community. This work is not the work that everybody sees every day, because a lot of the work is done behind the scenes. This is an organization that leads from behind. It leads through support. It buttresses many of the community initiatives that we hold dear and that we know. So sometimes it's easy to forget or even misunderstand the full extent and impact of this organization and the degree to which it is so woven into the fabric of our community. You know, it began here in 1924, which was the same year that the city of Austin got its very first city manager, for those of you interested in history, but it just goes that far. In that period of time, we've gone from a city that was dominated by the government and higher education to one that is booming in live music and film and technology and environmental activism and much more. In the 1930s, this organization moved beyond just raising money and began to focus on community impact, keeping dollars that are raised locally here, empowering social service agencies that exist in the community in ways that they could not do without the backstop that is this organization, doing more and helping more and more families in need in our community. The idea of putting money that's raised by those of us in the community that are fortunate to work for the folks that are less fortunate has been the core of this organization's mission. In the 1980s, this organization conducted, in conjunction with the City of Austin and Travis County, the very first ever community needs assessment that we had ever done. And so much of what's happened since that time has been directed by that study and the understanding that study that really has led us toward more metric evaluation in this community of what works and identifying what is worthy and important to be able to support. The work associated with the delivery of the region's 211 navigation city information referral services has been critically important to this community, and it has given United Way a front row seat to the needs of our community, which means that this organization is probably best positioned than perhaps anyone in this community to nimbly address systemic gaps and fragmentation that exists in the community. It is an organization that is committed to data-informed strategy. Everyone talks that language now, not everyone lives that language, and that language began with just a few organizations, including United Way here. So as the needs of our communities change, it's critical that the key leaders, such as United Way, build upon the things that are making the greatest impact in our community, in the lives of our citizens, that we continue to reinvent how we address the needs and become ever more clever in ascertaining those needs and the ways that we can best impact them. You know, real simply put, without the United Way, there would be millions of calls for help that would have gone unanswered in this region. Hundreds of thousands of kids would have entered schools less prepared than they are because of your work and the work of this organization. This is the kind of work that shapes a community over time. This is the work that removes barriers to economic standing and opportunity in our community, and it ultimately leads to ending the grip of poverty one family at a time. I'm here today on behalf of my colleagues to say thank you for what you do to impress again just how important this organization is and how important it is as truly one of the fundamental backbones of what works in this city. So thank you very much. And David, you're doing a great job in a relatively new job. Congratulations to you and to the board and to everyone else. You want to come on up?
Thank you, Mayor Adler, for being here. You're everywhere. I don't know how you and Diane do it, but you end up being everywhere I ever go. So thank you for being here, for your kind words, and for your leadership. Yes, thank you. And let me add another warm welcome. It's so good to see everybody. Looking around, I just see a room full of good friends. But for those of you I haven't met yet, I'm David Smith, and I'm the CEO of United Way for Greater Austin, that I think is the best job in the world. So thanks a lot for being here. A huge thanks to our board member, Mark Strama, his wife, Crystal, and everybody at Google Fiber for hosting us and sponsoring the event tonight. Thank you so much, Mark. And thanks also to Kathleen and all of the board of directors for being here. I am so grateful to serve with such an outstanding board and the best, most committed and talented staff. So if you're on the board and the staff, will you raise your hand and let us thank you for your service? Hey. They didn't raise their hand. Okay. And then most especially, thank you for being here. We know you all are incredibly busy, and we count you all as United Way for Greater Austin's family. So we really, really appreciate your presence here tonight. Because you're family, I'll let you know that we don't have quick fixes or easy solutions to share tonight. You all know that the issues we face as a community are complex. And so tonight, we want you all to be the first to hear about our renewed, clear purpose and our focused vision and plan that will move United Way forward, but most importantly, will transform the lives of our most vulnerable neighbors. So I've been with United Way for Greater Austin just over a year. I love it, and it's been a really great year. We've done a lot, but most significantly, we have been through a really thorough strategic planning process led by the Boston Consulting Group, BCG. And let me say, we won the pro bono lottery. We did not pay 1 penny for their service. Yeah. We began the process last summer with the highest expectations, and the BCG team, led by Joseph Halverson and Patrick Hadlock, more than exceeded all of our expectations. They really got to know us, the good, the bad, even the ugly, and they really believe in us. So much so that both of them, after our engagement with them ended, both became major donors to United Way for Greater Austin, something we're really proud of. Yeah. It's so exciting to see already the progress from their time and support. So when I started in this role, I started setting up meetings with community leaders and nonprofit and corporate partners. Really, anybody who would meet with me, I would set up a meeting. And I wanted to hear directly from the people with whom we work. I asked for unvarnished honesty, and I got it. So I started setting up, some of them were happy hours, some of them were unhappy hours. But really, all of these conversations were so important because they gave me a deeper glimpse into the work we do. And all of them filled me with optimism because every single person I met with said, we want to have a strong, united way. They believed in our purpose. But there was one question that came up at every single one of these meetings, and that was, well, who is United Way? It came in many forms. What do you all do? What's your focus now? Are you a pass-through organization? Are you an early childhood education organization? But people were confused, and I have to say, as a member of the community, I understood. But that question stuck with me because it's connected to who we are as a city, and I think it's connected to who we are as human beings. So first, who are we as a city? Don't we love living in Austin, Texas? Yeah, yes. When Chris and I travel, we are always so proud to say we're from Austin. And every time we do, whoever we're talking to says, oh, I love Austin. And we say, oh, you've been there? And they're like, no, I've never been there, but I love it. We're like the Sally Fields of cities. Like, they really, really like us. People really like us. But we're also in all the national headlines, and we're at the top of all these lists. Just recently, again, best city to live, best place to start a business. That list goes on and on. You all know that. But you all are engaged, and you also know that way too many of our residents don't even recognize the city at the top of those lists. In fact, we're the most economically segregated city in the country. And now, in a brand new list, we're among the top cities where inequality is increasing most quickly. That's something we know those as statistics, but the tragedy of that is that many of us never get to see what our neighbors across town, how they're living, while hundreds of thousands of them right here in our community live in ways that we really can't imagine. So to be considered living in poverty in Austin, a family of 4 must make below $24,300. 4 people on $24,300. Our friends at Center for Public Policy Priorities say it actually takes twice that federal threshold to make ends meet in Austin. And with housing costs rising, just making ends meet has become for many almost impossible. And it's our youngest residents who bear the brunt of this the most. 42% of Austin children under 6 live in low-income households. It's almost too painful to let that sink in. Thousands of families living in our community have to make decisions that no one should ever have to make. Should I pay my rent, or should I pay to get my car fixed so I can get to work? Should I pay my utility bill, or should I pay my child's school lunch? So, are we the greatest city in the country? Yes, we think so. But can we be better? Absolutely. And we must. Or we seriously risk losing the character that makes us so unique and great. So, which leads us to the question of who is United Way for Greater Austin? So through our work with BCG, and after their interviews with nearly 100 stakeholders, we identified a common thread across all of our efforts: our intention to fight poverty, which is inseparable from our belief in the power of community to make change. Some may think of us as just a facilitator of philanthropy or a pass-through organization, but our work reaches far beyond that and will continue to. Who are we? We are an investor in impact. And our new mission statement says it so well. United Way for Greater Austin brings people, ideas, and resources together to fight poverty in our community. To see just some of the ways that we do this, let's turn our attention to the screen for our new video, and then I'll come up afterward and go a little deeper into our work.
Problems. The ones that many communities face. The ones that can't be solved overnight. We bring together the brightest minds and the biggest hearts, and we look for solutions. We find every dollar we can to address them. But we're more than fundraisers. We're hand raisers, game changers, the stop talking, start doing, band together and take on the impossible taskmasters. United, we connect people in need to community resources that can help them. United, we partner to find solutions that can break the cycle of poverty for parents and their children. United, we invest in the education of Austin's youngest residents because all kids should start out on an even playing field. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround our community's most critical problems, and we fight. We fight for Maricela and Maya. We fight for Roberto. We fight for Tasharve. We fight for Tiffany. We fight for Christopher. We fight for those who need a voice and those whose names we do not know. At United Way for Greater Austin, we bring people, ideas, and resources together to fight poverty in our community. Because change doesn't happen alone. Hope isn't a one-man band. There's no such thing as self-taught or self-made. Together, we can create a thriving community for all. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
Thank you, Carrie Tate, for lending your voice in so many ways. So we know that lasting change, real impact, doesn't happen in isolation. The key to transformative social change is working together. And that's where United Way comes to play. The how of our work is right here in our name. We bring the community together in a united way to serve as a convener of and backbone for powerful collaborations that lead the collective fight against poverty. We went back and forth on whether or not to put the word fight in our mission statement. But ultimately, it came down to this. When you meet even just one person living in poverty, you know their situation is worthy of all the fight we have in us. So every statistic has a name. There are sons and daughters, nieces and nephews just like ours, all of whom have parents who have the highest dreams for them, and none of whom should have their zip code determine their opportunity. So with fighting poverty as our North Star, BCG led us through a thorough evaluation of our work. We discontinued some programs, but that was so we could do more in areas where we are leading and having the greatest impact. Those fall into 3 explicit areas. We think of them as pillars, each one addressing poverty in its own unique way, but together creating a holistic 360-degree approach. First, we relieve poverty through our 211 Navigation Center. It consists of 2 principal services: information and referral support, and our healthcare navigation program. Basically, if you're poor and don't know where you'll sleep tonight, if you can't pay your utility bill, if you don't have enough food to feed your family, you can call 211 and we will connect you with a service in town that can meet those needs. It's free, confidential, multilingual, and available 24/7. At 211, we are connecting the most vulnerable Austinites with resources they desperately need. And last year, we answered more than 300,000 calls. As the mayor mentioned, these calls give us a real-time understanding of the needs in our community and provide a wealth of data that informs our work and that of a lot of the nonprofit network. So you'll see, you all will be the first to see our new Needs and Trends report. It's a summary of data analysis from our 211 calls. We'll have it for you as you leave tonight. So our second pillar, Success by 6, prevents poverty. Study after study shows that education is the key to breaking generational poverty. In Austin, only 30% of low-income children entering kindergarten are ready for school. And when annual child care costs are on par with a year's tuition at UT, we can understand how those kids aren't receiving the resources they need to enter kindergarten on a level playing field with their peers from higher income families. The good news is that 85% of children in our Success by 6 programs are school ready. But what does that mean? They're more likely to graduate, to defer pregnancy, to steer clear of juvenile crime, to go to college, and to have a job with better health outcomes. The evidence of success is clear. This works. And that's why, for 10 years, we've been convening and leading this initiative to increase access to high-quality early care and education under the visionary leadership of our Chief Programs Officer, Sue Carpenter. Yeah. I was hoping y'all were going to do that. So deserved. So in short, this work is preventing the transfer of poverty to yet another generation. Our third pillar is our newest area of focus, 2Gen, or 2Generation. These programs intentionally focus on both generations, the children and the parents. We don't stop at school readiness because a child can't benefit from even quality early childhood education if he or she goes home to a family where they can't put dinner on the table, or where they're having to move again because they can't keep up with rent. So last year, we launched a 2Gen network of service providers and experts to address the challenges caused by the fragmentation of social services. In addition to our other community investment grants, for the first time earlier this year, we awarded grants to 5 local organizations that are incorporating 2Gen strategies in their work. Rather than acting as the direct service provider, we're investing in partners who are delivering proven 2Gen interventions in their work. This magnifies the impact and fosters comprehensive solutions to poverty. We approach these 3 pillars like we do everything, with the understanding that we can only make transformative change if we're in this fight together. So to conclude, we're at that final question: who are we as human beings? So they say we are more divided than we've ever been in this country. So isn't it great to be in this room, bound together by a shared desire to not only care for Austin's most vulnerable, but to also to invest in progress. If the United Way didn't exist, we'd invent this organization, one that brings together business, government, nonprofits, leaders like you, and everyday citizens to show that we're actually not as divided as we seem, and that together, no challenge is too great. So who are we as human beings? This work reminds me every day that people are fundamentally good. Every person I've worked with in the last year has confirmed that we reach our highest potential when we take care of each other. The end of poverty starts here. Imagine this great city reducing poverty so drastically that that's what makes the national headlines. Imagine changing the narrative entirely, where the story of our city is that we pulled together and changed so many lives that we also changed the landscape. The end of poverty starts here at United Way, through our partnerships and collaborations. And the end of poverty starts here in this room with each of us. We can do this. We must do this. And together with you, we will. Thank you. Thank you. So with that, I am so honored to introduce the CEO of ABC Home and Commercial Services. He's a rock star in Austin. He's also a Rockstar United Way board member, and he's my good friend, Bobby Jenkins.
You heard an unbelievable story just now, and I am so proud and so impressed with what David's doing, what the staff is doing, what the board of directors is doing. Great job, David. I want to give one more round of applause, because that's the story. That's the story of what we've got to talk about. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, first of all, and thank you for attending. And I want to thank you for the long-standing commitment that so many people in this room have to the United Way. You've been supporters for a long, long time. You know, we're all committed to this community. And you're the reason that the United Way is able to do what the United Way has done in the past, but more importantly, what we want to do in the future. You know, like David said, I'm on the board of directors, and let me tell you, this is a great board of directors. I am so pleased to work with the team that we have. The commitment is unbelievably high. You know, there's a lot of organizations out here in this town, and there's a lot of organizations that do unbelievable things and are so important to this community. But I want you to know that being a part of the United Way is a little bit different. I really feel that the opportunity at the United Way truly is to be that focal point for getting things done in this community. And I really believe that that's the direction that we're trying to set sail on. I'll also say this, my time at the United Way has been fantastic, not just because of my personal experience and what I believe that we're accomplishing in this community and what we have the ability to accomplish in the community. I will tell you, the folks at ABC, right? A lot of times it's what happens at our companies. And I've always ascribed to the belief that the United Way, through its employer giving program, allows so many people to actually be philanthropists in this town. And I just find that to be one of the most compelling parts of what the United Way is able to do. But what I am impressed with, and David, you and everybody here, you saw the message tonight, and I hope you felt what I feel, which is the focus of what the United Way has going forward, and that is to meet the unmet needs of so many people in this community. I think that's the piece that's different now, and the one that I'm so excited about. I really feel that we have a clear focus, and focus is a term that I use at my business, and I think it's something that we need to be thinking about as a community, and I think that's one of the key things that we're able to do here. And I will say, I can't believe, David, it's been all of a year. I mean, oh my gosh, it seems like the blink of an eye since you came and we started this change. And I will assure everyone in this room and the community that this strategic planning process was one of the most thorough and complete and one of the most fruitful processes I've ever been through in my life. The work that was done there, the finished product that we've come up with is one that I am completely committed to and very, very excited about. And so to David and the team, once again, at the United Way, the staff, I want to give a big round of applause for your leadership and direction. And I'm going to say it one more time, because I hope that when you leave here tonight, you feel, when we say what our mission is, we bring people, ideas, and resources together to fight poverty in our community. I mean, that is spot on, smack you in the forehead. We know what we are going to do. And so I'm very, very proud of that, and I'm very proud of the work product from the board and what we've come up with. So the other piece that I love, and okay, yes, I may be that guy who likes the advertising stuff, and every now and then you hear a message that you go, oh man, that nails it. And I remember being at our board meeting here recently, and when we say the end of poverty starts here, I can't think of a more powerful, a more succinct, and a more spot-on tagline. We mean that at the United Way. It's not just a promise. It is a rallying cry for all of us to get behind and make an impact in this community. So it happens, and truly, this is what takes place. It is all of us as a community working together to achieve that goal. So once again, I cannot thank you enough for being here. Your work, your leadership, your passion. I was talking about it earlier. Oh my gosh, David said it, was said earlier, the mayor says it. Man, there's no better place in the country to be than right here in Austin, Texas. We were saying, we've had a lot of changes in this town. You couldn't pry me out of here with a crowbar. This is the place to be. We've got work to do, but my gosh, we've got a community that cares. We've got the people here that can do this work. So once again, to each of you, thank you for your leadership, your passion, and your support. The evening is not over. We've got drinks. We've got food being passed around. Please stay. Please visit. This is a great opportunity for continuing to get to know each other, for continuing bonding. But once again, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here with us all tonight. Appreciate it.